Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Janine McGowan, and I design cross stitch as the blue flower. And this is my Flosstube, where we talk about whatever comes to mind. So it's actually kind of a cool day here today in northern Nevada. We've got a cold front coming in. I guess that's going to hit quite a few people. So it's a good weekend for staying in and stitching, of course, right? And I hope that you had a lot of lovely stitching time over the holidays, or whatever it is that you needed from the holiday season, and that your new year is off to a great start. So whatever happens in 2025, we will get through it together, and hopefully some great things, and of course some challenging things, because there always are. But I look forward to seeing what the year has in store for all of us. On to stitching in action. First off, we have a festive forest finish. I should have thought before I put myself in a position to say that many times, but festive forest finish. This was stitched by Debbie, who is Colorado Stitcher on Instagram. She's using the berries as the embellishment that came with the kit, and I think it came out beautifully, but she's also leaving herself the option of switching to something else on top for later, which I think is a great idea. This is one where you can easily swap out what you have on top of it. So fantastic job, Debbie. It looks like you did it perfectly, and yeah, thank you for sharing that. Next up, we have Festive Fruit Bat. This is a freebie that was available at the Jingle Ball and is on the website. This was stitched by Karen from KEB Studio Creations. She made it into an ornament for her husband on just a piece of 40 count mystery linen. She switched the red and white colors for DMC 3865 and 347 on this one. So I think it came out very nicely. I love the finish. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing that with us. And then lastly, we have another festive forest finish. This one is from Gay. She did beautiful stitching and finishing. And then I love the embellishments that she chose for the top. And I'm hoping as more of these get finished, I'll get to see even more options from creative stitchers like Gay, who are making them their own and putting whatever they want on the top. So very great work. Thank you all for sharing. And as always, if you do finish a blue flower design, I would love to see it so I can post it on the website and everyone else can be inspired as well. On to what I'm stitching. It's been models. It's been models and market prep, but I think I'm actually kind of caught up on that, which is great. The bad news is I did not finish the seasonal Things Of from Posy in 2024, and I really definitely want to get that done before I move on to anything else. But I've been waffling about what I want to do for 2025, and I really want to finish some of my bigger whips especially, but I also loved the Year of Stitching Greyhounds, and so I decided what I'm going to do is alternate. I will finish a whip, and then I will stitch a greyhound, finish a whip, stitch a greyhound. So hopefully I'll get more than 2 things done. We'll see how it goes, but I think that's a good plan that lets me accomplish both of my goals at once. On to Stash Spotlight. Something extra fun this time. This is a new collection called Daydream from Cottage Garden Threads. It is 10 beautiful threads, and I've taken them out of this box here to put them on a ring so you can get a slightly better look. Oh, this is going to be tricky, isn't it? There we go. That's better. So you can see just a lovely collection, not just spring colors, but certainly some spring colors shading all the way into the deeper midnight colors. Just a beautiful collection of threads, and I am definitely using these in some of the designs for market and later this year, so I'm very excited about those. But yay, they just came and I'm so happy. I've already busted open my box. This here is a box for giveaway, which you will see later in this episode, so very excited about those. On to World Around, and this time I chose the White Bark Pine, and I was thinking of it because, like a lot of people, I watched Lord of the Rings over the holidays pretty regularly. And the white tree in Gondor always makes me think of the white bark pine. I know they made their own tree. It's not that thing particularly. And of course, Tolkien probably had never seen a white bark pine, but there are other trees with white bark. Anyway, that was a lot of blather about why I was thinking of this. These are pretty amazing trees. They live quite high up in the subalpine region of the mountains, so 6,000 to 12,000 feet, up to the very top of the tree line, as high as essentially trees can go for us. They are extremely sturdy, and they have to be, because at those elevations they deal with punishing wind and cold conditions for a lot of the year, and then a very short growing season of just brutal sun at that elevation. Very little moisture, very poor soil. It's a tough gig. They have extremely fast growing roots because of those tough conditions, so that they can take advantage of that very short growing season each year. But they are really quite interesting. They can get up to, say, 40 to 60 feet tall, but they generally don't because of the conditions. They tend to stay shorter and a bit scrubbier. They can be quite thick throughout the trunk because of the conditions and the poor soil. However, they have such an interesting relationship with the other plants around them, and particularly the Clark's nutcracker, which is a bird that prefers the seeds of this white bark pine to a lot of the other options. And there aren't a ton at those elevations, but there are even other pinyon pine trees, for example, would have pine nuts, that the Clark's nutcracker will choose the white bark pine nuts over a lot of the others. And they're an important way for this tree to spread. They can use their beaks to pick open those pine cones. The white bark pine is one of those that has both male and female cones on the same tree. But the way that it spreads is that the seeds are spread. And so this nutcracker will pick open the pine cones, and then it will carry a load of seeds under its tongue in a pouch and, continue going around and collecting them. It will also then make little shallow buried caches of those seeds. And although the nutcrackers are good at remembering where their seeds are, some of them inevitably escape and are then allowed to grow where they were cached. So that's a really good example of how the seeds are spread, particularly by one animal, in this case the Clark's nutcracker. Now, certainly they're not the only ones at high elevations who love a nutritious, protein-packed seed. Squirrels and other animals, certainly. I found surprising that grizzly bears really love them, to the point where one website I found said that you can almost predict how well grizzly bears will do at raising cubs by how good the white bark pine nut harvest was for that year. And they will climb in the trees and get the nuts. They will also raid the caches of other animals, say red squirrels, and dig them up and get them the easy way. So they're really a keystone kind of a species for their habitat because they impact so many other animals. They provide important shelter for grasses and other new seedlings that can come up underneath them. They hold snowpack in place for as long as possible in those high elevations, which extends the water supply all the way down the mountain and what's available to other plants. So they're very interesting and very important. Now, they don't produce cones until they're about 30 years of age. They're very slow growing in these tough conditions, not surprising, but they can easily live to be 400 to even 1,000 years old. And I read one account that was saying that Europeans first encountered these trees in the Lewis and Clark expedition. So they're seeing this white-barked pine tree at these high elevations, and the trees that they're seeing had been there potentially for 1,000 years at that point. They are impacted by fire because the white bark pine tends to be shorter, even though it can grow quite tall, tends to be shorter at those high elevations, and that white bark is not very thick. So the fire can kill the mature tree, but it also, like so many things, can clear the ground and leave mineralized soil for new seedlings to sprout. So it's a really interesting tree. Now, it is threatened by changing conditions. Increased temperatures promote pests, pine beetles, and some of the diseases that can impact the pine tree. The Forest Service is currently raising disease-resistant trees, but because they grow so slowly, it's going to take decades before those are even able to have an impact. So if you have a chance now, maybe you get to see a white bark pine. And certainly if you're in this area of northern Nevada, you can go up to the lake and see them up there. That was today's World Around, the white bark pine tree, which is sadly not the white tree of Gondor, but is still very beautiful. All right, questions. Last video, I asked, what are you looking forward to doing or experiencing or, whatever over the holidays? I loved all of those answers. Thank you so much. This video, I had kind of an odd question, and I was thinking about it because I was thinking of something I do and enjoy watching particularly. I watch YouTube videos about things that are no part of my everyday life. And one of the ones that I really love to watch, I love to watch people setting up camping sites. Not so much doing the camping. I love to watch them pull up with their teardrop camper and show what's in there. I love to see them use the big inflatable structures with, their own little stoves and things. But I also love to see people making survival huts and literally digging, a hole in the snowy forest and showing how you would do that. I love to watch all of it. I don't really go camping anymore. I like my bed and I like room service and I like my good stitching light. So it doesn't come up, and yet I am willing to watch hours of people making emergency shelters and elaborate tents and all kinds of things. So I was curious whether that's something that anyone else does as well. If there's something that you just like to watch people doing that you don't ever do yourself. So let me know. On to best thing. This video, bagels. Which is funny, but I asked my husband for a bread machine for Christmas because a lot of days my hands are just too sore or I don't have time to do making of a heavy dough that requires a lot of kneading. And so he got me this wonderful bread machine that will make the dough and do all of the kneading and resting, and then I can just do the last shaping, which works out really well for me. So we started making bagels at home, and they've been so much fun. We make bagels, just a little batch, 8 bagels. Then the next thing you know, he's in here again with, hey, could we have some more bagels? I love bagels. I love all the different flavors. So that's been a lot of fun in our house. I'm sure at some point we'll stop eating bagels every single day, but for right now, we're really enjoying it. Okay, on to giveaway. Last video was this terrific chart from Heartstring Samplery, My Sweet Home. All of the great comments with home in them, and the winner is at Hilltop Stitching. So drop me a message, let me know your mailing address, and I will get that in the mail to you. Now, as I said, this time the giveaway, this is a big one. This is the Cottage Garden Threads new set of the Daydream threads. So beautiful here. Look at all these lovelies. I gotta get in the right place. There we go. We can see all of those beautiful colors. So nice. Use the word dream in your comment, and I will pick a winner for the next video to win these lovely threads, and I will get them in the mail to you. Announcements. Thank you all to everyone who purchased the Quilber chart. It was a very low-cost chart, and it was done to raise money for the Animal Ark here in Reno, and I'll get these numbers right. Let's see. We sold 853 copies of this chart, which means we raised $1,706 for the Animal Ark. That check has been mailed to them, so I can't thank you all enough for helping support them in that way and participating with Quilber. He will hopefully be in Walnuts, very well stocked for the rest of the year. And if I get to go do the Jingle Ball again next year, I'm going to see if I can meet up with one of their other animals and maybe do something similar. So again, thank you all for that. We've got a brief puppy video at the end here, and this is just a quick hello from me to you. I hope your New Year's off to a wonderful start, and I look forward to seeing you quite a bit in this coming season. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye.